All right. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to the Think Like a Teacher podcast. This week, this episode, we have Dr. Anthony Godfrey, who is the superintendent of the Jordan School District. I'll let you just introduce yourself.
Yeah, this is year 6 for me as superintendent, and I'm really excited to be here today.
Awesome.
I taught language arts, French, drama, and journalism at various times.
Okay.
For middle school and high school, and I've been an administrator at the middle and high school level and at the district level for quite a number of years now.
So this is your world.
This is
Education.
my world. This is
That's
it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, because I did a little bit of teaching in middle school, and it was not my thing. Did you have a preference, middle school or high school?
Oh, I loved different things about middle school and high school.
Yeah.
High school, you really can connect with them in a different way. You know the activities they're involved in. You get to see them in the play, get to see them in a game, and they're at an exciting stage where a lot is happening.
Yeah.
But in middle school, they connect with you in a different way. And I loved 8th graders. A lot of people questioned how I could possibly love 8th graders.
Yeah.
But I really did. And I really enjoyed my time teaching 8th grade. In fact, I'm still in touch with some students that I taught those first few years.
How cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, it was explained to me by one of my university professors that in middle school, you have to have a particular knack for taking all of their energy and converting that into usable energy.
Yes.
Whereas in high school, you kind of have to be a hype man in a bit of a way and build them up. But once you get them there, you can do some really cool things.
Right. And if you can find their interest and tap
Yes.
into it, then you find those energy sources.
Yeah.
But they're a little more beneath the surface than they are with middle school.
Yeah. So they're challenging in different ways. But yeah, I love high school. It's been a joy. Okay, so you taught in middle school, high school. Did you know that you wanted to one day be the superintendent of a huge school district like Jordan School District?
No, I did not. I definitely did not think I was up to that task, and I did not have that in my sights. I wanted to be the teacher that had the same classroom for like 3 generations.
Oh,
and,
wow.
You know, everybody just came through that same classroom, but that did not turn out.
Okay.
And I taught at 3 different schools before becoming an administrator, and I've been an administrator for a long time now. Okay. But I loved my teaching years, and I still miss them.
Yeah.
I still miss my time in the classroom and that connection with students. There's nothing like seeing students on a regular basis because you get to build those deep relationships. As an administrator, you have short interactions with most of the people that you work with. You know, with people who work at the school, then you get to know them well. But students come and you get moments with them, but you don't get regular time together to build a relationship and have those interactions that
and it sounds like
are so rewarding.
It sounds like a lot of the interactions, maybe not a lot of them, but many of them as a school administrator tend to be the interactions you're not always hoping for, like discipline interactions and things like that.
Well,
that can be challenging.
There are more of those in the mix than with other roles, for sure.
Right. Yeah.
And what you do is you look for those positive interactions that you can take to the bank. But sometimes there's a student you don't know, and there's a crisis, and you're first meeting them during that crisis. Yeah. Whereas, you know, as a teacher, you have a relationship at least to tap into. That's not to say that makes it easy.
Sure.
Sometimes those relationships make it even harder as a teacher because you have to make sure that lasting relationship is in place. As an administrator, you deal with the issue and then everybody moves on. But as a teacher, you're together.
Yeah.
And you have to make it work the best that you can. So in each of our roles, we have our own challenges and our own rewards.
Yeah, that's certainly true. And so I'm always interested with people that leave the classroom for one reason or another. Oftentimes it's to do administrative things or pursuing other industries. So what you say missed the classroom.
Yeah.
What made the transition? What was it during your career? You're like, I think this is where I need to be.
Well, I knew I wanted to get a master's degree, and I thought I would get a master's degree and a doctorate in an area that would allow me some flexibility and choice down the line.
Okay.
So I thought if I'm going to get a master's, I'll get one where I can do a different job, ultimately, if I choose to. But I knew I wanted to stay in education for my entire career. And after I did the mandatory internship, I found that I really enjoyed administration. So I decided to go into it as I got my degree, and it worked out well.
Wow, that's awesome. Not looking back, really like, well, I made a bad choice, but seems like you've done some awesome things for our district.
I have really enjoyed it, and I love this job.
Yeah.
I love being superintendent. I've loved every administrative job and teaching position I've had, so I've been very fortunate. I've never had a position where I thought, man, how do I get out of this?
Oh, wow, what a cool perspective.
So every time I've left a job, I guess I would say it was just for another opportunity. It was never because I needed to leave.
Yeah. This idea of when I talk to other people who are looking for career changes, one of the questions I think about for myself as well, but I ask is, are you running away from something or are you running towards something? And that kind of sets the tone of like, oh, why am I making the choice that I'm making? Is it because I'm trying to get out or because I'm driven to go somewhere? So it sounds like you've been in the driver's seat.
It's a good way to frame it. I like the way you said that. I've been very fortunate to always be going somewhere instead of leaving somewhere.
That's cool. I love that. So let's kind of move into things on a school level. You've had a lot of experience in the classroom as an administrator, superintendent of a huge school district, one of the best in my opinion.
Thanks.
And so I'm interested to know what your perspective is over your career of how to meet the very different needs of all of our students with differentiated instruction, with not trying to overcomplicate things.
Yeah, it's I think that you never arrive at a place where you feel like you've conquered differentiation. Like, hey, we've met the needs of all 57,000 students. We're good to go.
Yeah.
One of the things that I talked about when I started as superintendent, when I was interviewing to be the superintendent, is that I wanted to really focus on having a wide range of options available to students. With 57,000 students, give or take, it felt like we ought to be able to offer pretty much everything. So I actually looked at the AP classes that are available nationally to see how could we offer every AP class. But AP Italian isn't going to work because we'd really have to build a whole Italian program. There's some other very obscure AP programs out there. But in other terms, we've been able to, I think, offer as a district a very broad range of options. And, I never feel personally as superintendent like any of this is because of me. We have so many great people. I feel like I get a backstage pass to get to see all the amazing things that are happening in a way that even on cabinet I wasn't able to see. But as superintendent, you get to be everywhere. And I think what makes Jordan unique, and I get to bask in that glow a lot when I'm elsewhere in the state. They say, wow, Jordan's really doing some cool things. It's because we've got really innovative, really dedicated educators that are offering this wide range of options for for students. And I think what happens is you have programs like the JATC North and South campuses. We have great CTE programs. We have dual language immersion. We have, a long list of things that are available from kindergarten all the way to seniors. But what really happens that I think makes the biggest impact is a teacher in the classroom making sure that the needs of those students in that class are met. And that is a huge challenge to have a large group of students. It's a large group no matter what grade level you're in, no matter what you're teaching. And being able to meet those needs, keep people engaged, and keep kids moving forward so that wherever they started, they've discovered something about themselves, their abilities, their interests that they didn't know before they were in that class. And we have so many people doing such a remarkable job of that in Jordan. But that's been a goal for me, is to help support that.
Okay. Yeah.
So just to provide that pathway when someone has an idea or something they want to pursue, that we create a safe and fertile space for that to happen.
That's awesome. And I definitely see that working in the district, is how many opportunities there are for the students that I serve here. And so in your experience, what would you, let's say we have a new teacher who is struggling. I know that at our school, there's a large population of multiple language learner students. We have a pretty robust IEP population. How do we help new teachers bridge the gap of this? Like, I have some students in my class that are really, really exceptional, while I have others that need a lot of my time. What have you seen? Because you said you have a backstage pass to all of these incredible teachers and educators. What have you seen are some strategies that can help those kinds of situations?
Well, one thing is, you mentioned it earlier, is artificial intelligence. Using school AI to customize the work that is done in class. So school AI can help with translating, interpreting, and really right-sizing an assignment for someone. You can tailor an assignment around a particular concept, around a student's interests and their reading level using school AI. So there's a lot of work. I don't mean to suggest that it's easy. Differentiation is our greatest challenge, I think, in education, is meeting the needs of the individual student. While you aren't meeting with an individual student, you're meeting with a group of students.
Right.
I think one step to that is acknowledging that every student comes with something that makes them unique. Whether it could be a language barrier, it could be that they're on an IEP, it could be that they are very prepared or not very prepared based on their home life.
Yeah.
There can be a lot of obstacles or a lot of things that are accelerating them forward. And it's really difficult to assess all of that and help people move forward. But what I've seen is a lot of innovation on the part of teachers to meet the needs of students. And a lot of that comes from technology and the support that technology, Canvas and School AI and Nearpod can provide. But it also comes from getting support. We've tried to add support to schools. We've added an administrative intern at all of our high schools, additional counseling and school psychologists. At the elementary level, we've added in a full-time assistant principal at every school, a counselor, full-time psychologist, more hall monitor support at all three, or at the secondary level.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is provide a lot of support so that the teacher can really focus on teaching.
Gotcha.
And then provide the professional development. We had a lot of teachers go through MTSS professional development this summer to help with classroom management, with PSYOP training for helping meet the needs of students with who are learning English, and just with School AI, we did some training this summer as well, where teachers were paid in all three of those areas to get some additional professional development.
Yeah.
So I think making tools accessible to teachers, trying to clear the space, that's what we've tried to do as a district. But I've just seen time after time so many great teachers that go above and beyond and are very creative in meeting the needs of their students, and just diving in and really connecting with individual students, and then making sure that they have a space to express their learning and with different sorts of projects and outcomes.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's kind of two parts. One part relationship building, one part creativity and using your imagination.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we talked about School AI right before we started the show. Talk to me about that experience of bringing artificial intelligence to a school district on a district-wide level.
I had dinner with a couple of people who were involved with School AI before it was even a thing.
Oh, wow.
And they said, hey, we're working on this and we're just launching this company, and would you guys be interested? And I said, there are two things that we need. We need to know that it's safe for kids, first of all, and safe for our network. And so I had them meet with the School AI reps, meet with information systems and with teaching and learning. And when all of those folks were satisfied, it's like I said, I mean it when I say I'm surrounded by so many great people that's why things happen.
Wow.
Like, because I just trust those groups. And when they said, yeah, you know what, this is going to work for students and it's going to work for our network, then great. Then we took off with it. And again, we relied on teachers when you give space to teachers, incredible things happen.
Yeah, because I remember it was, I guess, the school year preceding when you had that meeting. I would have, because a lot of that happened over a summer between school years. Is that what I'm understanding?
Right.
And I remember, Chat GPT became really popular really fast towards kind of the middle-ish end of a school year.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it was gone. Like, it was not allowed. Like, we couldn't access it as teachers. And I was like, I can see so many reasons why this should be a thing that we could use.
Yep.
And so it was so I'm interested in how that meeting even came. Did they reach out to you, or was it just kind of a serendipitous, we're in the same place at the same time?
There was a connect from Jordan with School AI, and I was at a conference, and they said, "Hey, are you free tonight? Let's talk about this."
Wow.
And he introduced himself, and we talked, and I told him those are the thresholds, and that was in February, a year ago, February, and then I had them meet with those two groups, and we piloted in the summer with 100 teachers.
Yeah.
And that's I had these two great departments that helped figure things out, and then I had 100 incredible educators who really laid the foundation for School AI to be used in Jordan School District, because we were learning the capabilities that School AI had.
Yeah.
But then those 100 excellent professionals came back to School AI and in weekly meetings would say, but could you do this with School AI? And what if you did this? And how about this tweak? And so that pilot benefited School AI and Jordan School District in equal measure.
Right.
And so then we expanded the pilot in the fall while we did an RFP, a request for proposal, to see if we could sign on long term. And what you have to do is so we opened it up to multiple companies, and School AI won that bid. But in the meantime, we added another 300 people to that pilot. Gotcha. And now we have well over 2,000 teachers who are signed up and using School AI to some degree or another.
Yeah. And I'm definitely one of those. I was an early adopter. As soon as I heard about it, I'm like, okay, this is definitely something that I'm very interested in.
And you're right. Early on, there was frustration.
There was,
because we shut down Chat GPT because we did not know how safe student information was or what work products would be. And we didn't know how safe that was for the network. So we shut it down, but I could not wait to get something in place. I was so eager to get something else in place that was safe, and School AI was luckily in the right place at the right time, and we were able to have some meaningful conversations. And I cannot overstate the importance of those 100 educators over the summer who helped School AI, and it really developed a pathway for others to follow.
Yeah. So just as kind of a recap for those of you that maybe don't know what School AI is or has to offer, it's an artificial intelligence platform that was designed by teachers. Both the engineers were educators, the founder was an educator, and these teachers that piloted the program have designed this so that it's built by teachers for teachers with education in mind. All of the security for students is kept in their own server, unlike other AI models where that information is used to train further models. Ours is kept secure, isn't shared.
AI helps us, but we don't help AI.
Right. And it really does, it offers a lot of opportunities for teachers. Like we're talking about differentiation. It allows teachers to save time, to be more supportive, and to be more creative so that we can put our efforts into that relationship. We talked about it's equal parts relationship and creativity when we're talking about differentiating and meeting needs of students. And
both take a lot of effort. I want to say that again.
Yes, they certainly do.
I never want conversations like this to make it sound like, hey, all you have to do is decide that you want to differentiate. Yeah. It takes a lot of work, and it's bit by bit, but it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I was talking to a teacher who's new to our building, new to teaching. It's his second career, was talking about just challenges of interacting with students and how overwhelmed and hard things have been. And it caused me to reflect on my own teaching. And ironically, this person is in the classroom that I started, the actual room that I was in when I was a brand new teacher. And I just flashed back to those beginning days
Yeah.
and realizing, I really have learned some things and I really have come a long way. And it was maybe not the greatest advice, but the advice that I could offer was like, kind of just takes time and to
Yeah.
not take everything so seriously. I suppose like it is a serious job. It is a very important job, but I feel like when we put so much pressure and energy into making sure that it's perfect the first time,
Yeah.
it can actually be harmful downstream for our students, for the way our lessons go. What kinds of
Yeah, I think
yeah.
you have to balance things out.
Right.
Every moment is not a defining moment.
Yeah.
There's the next moment to recoup if things don't go right. And if we're too cautious and we expect things to go right the first time, then then we miss some opportunities.
Yeah.
I think if we were too cautious about school AI, we would have missed out. If we just decided to dismiss it out of hand,
Yeah.
we would have missed out. If we had leapt in with no consideration for the network or for students,
Yeah.
then that would not have been the right approach either. So it's a balanced approach, and giving yourself some space and some grace
Yeah.
to set the pace. Okay, that's all the rhyming I'm going to do. But you have to experiment and say, yeah. I mean, I remember switching from middle school to high school and trying to think.
Oh,
I mean, my first survival mode was, how am I going to fill 90 minutes?
it is. Yeah. That's
And that is a challenge that unless you've done it, making 90 minutes meaningful is a big job.
Yeah.
And I remember switching over, and I would think, okay, well, this will take about 45 minutes, and it would take 15, and I'd be cooked. And I'm like, okay, where do we go now as a new teacher? And
Yeah.
so I think we just need to give ourselves permission to do our best, but know that there's another chance to try something different after we've experimented.
Yeah, it reminds me. There's one of my favorite teachers growing up was actually a teacher on TV, and what she would often say is take chances, make mistakes, and get messy. Miss Frizzle with her kids in the Magic
Yeah.
School Bus, but I think it applies.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
as teachers, we encourage our students to take chances and to make mistakes and to get messy a little bit. And I feel like we forget that we need to be risk takers. That
Right.
we need to take those chances and be okay with a mistake. It's been interesting. This wasn't a thought that came to my mind preparing for this episode, but in talking with you about differentiation, my perspective was, okay, as a teacher, how do we help differentiate for our students? But what I'm finding is that the same principles are applying on a district level where you have an enormous amount of educators that have a wide variety of needs, experiences, and talents that you are providing differentiation for as well with you and your administrative teams. And it's kind of a cool thing to see, like, okay, this is education. This is how it works, where we have the space to be creative. I feel very supported, and like I can do things like have a podcast for my teachers in this building.
Right.
I can, do fun and innovative things with my students in the classroom. And there's that freedom to express my gifts and talents as I try to help my students foster their own. So it's a really cool parallel that just kind of struck me.
That's really what we're trying to do as a district, is provide great support to administrators so they can provide great support to teachers. And we want to provide great support to teachers, all educators, all staff. We have 9,000 employees, roughly 9,000 paychecks a month get issued.
Yeah.
And we want everyone in whatever role they're playing to feel supported, to feel like they have the resources they need, and the space to be creative and bring their unique talents to whatever job it might be.
Sure.
And really to feel like they're a part of something. So we strive to do that because, like I said, every time we get out of the way and provide some resources, great things happen, because I think I just am continually amazed at the
Yeah.
great teachers, great employees we have at every level in every position in this district.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that's great advice for teachers as well, to provide resources and kind of just get out of the way and let learning happen. Let questions be allowed. Let curiosity kind of, shape the way the lesson goes. I feel like it's easy, and it probably run through your thought processes as well. Like, well, I have these ideas and this is what I want to happen. As a teacher, we get into that, like, this is my lesson plan. This is where we're going.
Right.
And this is where I want you to be. Do you find that kind of parallel as well? Like, well, I have all these are the things that I want to occur. How do you get out of the way sometimes of like what your vision is, even if you feel like, well, this is what we need to do?
In other
But
words,
might
how
not
do
be.
I keep the bureaucracy from just rolling forward
Sure,
and
yeah.
mowing
Like, how
everyone
do
down
you-
in the process?
Yeah. How do you adjust, or how do you kind of make those compromises?
Well, there are some things that, much like running a classroom or running a school, you just have to have some structures in place to make things go.
Yeah.
So you always have to find that balance. What's the balance of structure versus flexibility?
Gotcha.
And how do you, and you have to keep monitoring that. Just like with any instructional differentiation, one key of that is monitoring progress so that you don't put people in the dolphin group and then you leave them in the dolphin group for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You keep assessing, okay, how's this going? Well, how do we need to adjust? And so as a district, we just want to be sure that we're balancing that out properly. And
Gotcha.
I'm sure there on certain topics there'll be varied opinions on how well we're doing at bat. And I never feel like we have it figured out. And I'm always seeking feedback directly from teachers, from administrators. I met with kindergarten teachers last year. I met with 6 different teams of kindergarten teachers and learned a ton by going to their school and talking with them, things that I did not know, and as a result, I could not give. I couldn't be a meaningful part of the solution to the problem we were trying to address, and that was very, very rewarding for me to be able to talk with them. That's just one example.
Yeah.
So you try to connect with people who are directly impacted every time that you can, to be well informed as someone who's in a position to be a part of the ultimate product or the ultimate change. So, but that's a constant battle. And if you ever think that you have all the feedback you need or all the information you need, then you need to take 2 steps back and start again.
It's very fluid. Everything is always changing. And so that kind of bringing me back to, okay, so how do we help teachers do this? And that comes back to those relationships. That if I have students that are not performing well, I wouldn't know if they don't ask questions, but that's kind of a poor excuse. I should be the one checking in with all of my students all of the time so I can get kind of a temperature reading of where everybody's at. Because they might be in group A, which is working on this kind of level of content, but maybe down the line they've outgrown that and they don't need that anymore. They need something more.
And you have to balance out efficiency with responsiveness and flexibility. Because if we wanted to be as efficient as possible as a district, we would not offer any choices. We wouldn't offer dual language immersion or ALPS or AP or concurrent. You just say everybody takes the same English class and all the class sizes balance out and the budget works itself out.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's an extreme we would not want to go to. But every bit of customization provides a different level of connection and more, connects more with the needs of students and the talents and needs and interests of our educators as well.
Right.
So I don't ever want to be thinking about it only in terms of efficiency.
Yeah.
Like what am I giving up in terms of efficiency, and what do I get as a result of that? And So and all of this is aspirational, I'll say. I'm not saying, hey, these are all the things we have figured out. I'm
Right.
saying these are all the things we try to do. I'm not
Yes.
suggesting that we
Yes.
always get the input we should get. I'm not
Yeah.
suggesting that we always create that space for creativity and the support
Yeah.
that we ought to. Like I said, it's never the job is never done, and I'm always wondering what we need to be doing next. So this is the aspirational
Yeah. Well, just
stuff that we're really trying to accomplish as a district.
right. And coming back to this idea that it's okay to not get it right the first time. It's okay to not even get it right the second or the third time. But as we're continually doing those, I guess, self-reflective practices as educators or administrators, to check in, to know where we are and are rebalancing enough efficiency against open and creativity.
And it's the curious, intentional, united.
Yes.
That's people ask if I'm going to have a different motto. That's the motto. That's it for the
Yeah.
time that I'm superintendent, because being curious just means that you're asking questions. So you're asking, so how are my students doing, or how are teachers doing, or how's this policy working? We're constantly asking ourselves questions. So that's the assessment. Where's
Right.
everybody? How are they doing? How's this working? And then intentional. Okay, based on what we just learned from being curious, what are we going to do? What steps are we going to take that we think are going to move us in the right direction and have the needed impact? And then united, that we do it together. We're supportive of each other.
Yeah.
We have the same goals but different roles. And whatever our role is, that we dive in and go toward that same goal of creating a great experience for students.
Yeah. I love that perspective, which does shed a lot of light on the innovations and kind of risks that we've taken as a district with things like using artificial intelligence widespread across the district. Where I'm curious about resistance, because I meet with teachers even now. We have it in our schools, in our districts, that are a little hesitant, and across my network and connections outside of the school as well, there are people that are like, I don't know, I think it's kind of cheating. So how do we battle that conversation when bringing AI into our district?
Well, whenever you have someone who is concerned about an idea or resistant, you have to pause and really make sure that you're listening and that you genuinely understand the concern. And I think that this is similar, and other people have said this, it's similar to other advancements in technology.
Yeah.
I think we have to adapt. The calculator, Google,
Right.
search engines,
Yeah.
the internet generally, we've had to adjust. And I think it gives us a chance to reevaluate the way instruction, what instruction looks like, and what products we expect from students. The other thing that can happen is that you can use school AI in a way that helps with students. Again, it's not easy, it's not simple.
Sure.
But you can use school AI in a way with students that allows them to use it, understand how to use it responsibly. So if school AI provides the starting point for a project, where do they take it from there?
Gotcha.
How do they fact check the work that school AI has done? How do they personalize it? How do they make it their own? How can they use it as a tool, but then also understand the level of human creativity and the who they are has to be a part of any project that they're making. If, as a professional, you're writing a letter of recommendation for a student and you use school AI, is that cheating? I think it's only cheating if you write that letter and then put no personal touches to it.
Right.
But if school AI gives you the starting point and the last 30 or 40% is you tweaking it, then that's a reasonable way to use school AI.
Yeah.
And again, I don't mean to oversimplify it, but one way to do it is to do assignments in class and say, all right, here's an assignment we're going to do start to finish in class. And this is how I expect you to use AI responsibly with it. And this is the customization I expect to happen once you've started with that you put into place. So it's tricky. I do know it's tricky.
Yeah.
But I think that finding a way to make school AI a tool instead of something to be avoided can help prepare students to use it responsibly going forward,
Yeah.
and actually using it as a launch to a deeper level of learning
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of a substitute for work that they might produce simply on their
like a
own.
way for students to kind of reignite their curiosity. Which kind of, I have elementary aged kids, one getting close to aging out, getting to middle school age, which is weird for me. But as young kids, their imagination is still really active.
Yeah.
And then it slowly kind of declines. And so I imagine using AI, particularly school AI, as a way to just wake up that part of our brains, both as teachers and as students. So like you're saying, it's not necessarily what we're using to replace my good pedagogical knowledge. It's not a way to replace students learning, but a way to kind of wake up different parts of our mind to help us to be more curious and to ask more questions and to challenge thinking in a way.
We like to say that for students it's a tutor, for teachers it's an aid.
Yeah.
It's not a replacement for either.
Right.
But for a teacher, I talked with a teacher who teaches middle school science, and he said that his examples that he had used over the years, he'd kind of narrowed those examples over the years. And when he used school AI to generate examples, there were examples that were equally useful, just as engaging, but that he had not thought of in years because he was used to using the same examples.
Yeah, we get into this like one track, like this is what I've done.
This works.
It works, and it hasn't stopped working.
So it can spark energy, I think, for teachers and students alike. I did the same thing. I was a language arts teacher, and I remember having some of the same examples.
Yeah.
And so I think that it can spark creativity. It can personalize things. And we can use school AI as a way to help students understand how to responsibly use the technological tools that are available to them, and that are going to expand exponentially in the very near future.
Yeah. And that is something, as we're kind of coming to the end of this episode, I'm interested to know what the future looks like from your perspective for Jordan School District or for education. A little while ago, I put a post on LinkedIn kind of asking that question of like, what does education look like ideally in like 20, 30, 50 years? Where do you see Jordan School District going? And then I'm also interested to know what do you envision this future world of education looking like?
I think that, first of all, what my vision for Jordan District is just that we provide a great place for educators and others to work.
Yeah.
So that people want to be in Jordan School District, so that the people are here that feel supported, and that when we have openings, people want to come here. I think if we can provide great support to our employees, then our students are going to have a wonderful experience.
Right.
And I've seen that. I've seen that we have, I know I said it earlier already, I'm going to say it again, we just have incredible educators in Jordan School District. Every year, the foundation gives an award for the Teacher of the Year for that building. And so over the course of 2 weeks, I get to visit a classroom in every school.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I visit a lot during the rest of the week of the year and get to see this as well. But during these 2 weeks, it's a concentrated time where I get to read a long nomination for each of these teachers, detailed about the incredible things they're doing for students.
Yeah.
So I get to see it everywhere I turn, and that's really, for me, that's the only thing that we need to do, is provide a great place for teachers, educators, for all staff to be where they want to be. Yeah. And that's what's going to create a great experience for students.
Yeah. And I agree for the industry as well. Most people, as I've been doing a little bit of research and kind of digging, a lot of teachers leave, yes, because of, our pay isn't what it could be if you're working at a tech company, for example.
Right.
But most teachers, I find, choose to stay because of the things that you're mentioning, because they feel supported. They feel like they have the resources that they need. The culture of the school is very important. And so it becomes less about the financial compensation, which we probably would both agree is very important and could be a whole nother episode all on its
Right.
own.
Right.
But really what you're saying, I think, is the magic of why people stay where they stay, or why they want to be somewhere, is the environment, the people you work with, the support that you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the finances are a big part of that.
Sure. Yeah.
Pay has increased over the last years.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that it's where it ought to be, but there have been strides.
Yeah.
There's been progress, and
Right.
so we just want to keep progressing, keep making it a place where it makes sense to work in Jordan School District, and it's a place that people want to be.
That's fantastic.
So if you're listening and you have an
Yeah.
idea along those lines, send me an email. Let me know, or on anything we've talked about, shoot me an email, because I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Just last thing. What do you see in the future of education in general? What does that look like? Many people will say, like, well, education is broken. I don't know if I totally buy that perspective, but I don't know. What do you see are some big changes that maybe could happen, should happen?
I think that, like I said, just great support to our teachers, to our educators in every role,
Yeah.
to the people who work with our students and in our buildings, and whatever the role is, we need to support it. We need to uplift it. We need to make sure that it's acknowledged and celebrated. Beyond that, I think that really the name of the game, which we've been talking about, is customizing and personalizing learning,
Yeah.
because that's really the way that the world is going. For a long time, we've had personalized recommendations. When you're buying on Amazon, it says you might also like this.
Yeah.
And there's an article, a parody article about Amazon knowing a spouse better
Better than the spouse.
than your partner, because these recommendations show that you actually understand my taste. It's
Right.
the level of customization. I'm a huge music fan, as you know.
Yes.
And boy, you sometimes have to break out of the algorithm, because there are all these great suggestions, and I listen, and I love the music that's put right in front of me.
Yeah.
And so I think just personalizing and customizing learning to the greatest extent that we
Right.
can. That doesn't mean that that there aren't things that everyone has to learn. That doesn't mean that every moment has to be customized.
No.
But that individual connection, I think, will not only help us feel more productive as educators, but also have students feel more engaged with what's going on. But like I said, those are aspirational things, and that we'll always be working on.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a future-proof mentality, that whatever direction education goes in, as long as we have the support and resources to help the people doing the jobs, that's what needs to happen.
And if anyone says that public education is broken, I would of course disagree.
Yeah.
Pretty vehemently, because we've survived for a very long time, and things are progressing. Students are getting great experiences. Teachers are doing an incredible job, and I think we're just going to continue down that path of more and more growth for students.
I love that perspective. Final question to wrap up. You mentioned music. What are you listening to on your drive after this meeting? What are we putting on?
One of my little indulgences is my satellite radio subscription. I'll cancel, and then they want me back, and I get the promotional deal again. And there's an app on my phone, and I love listening right now to the John Mayer channel.
Oh,
because he actually talks about some of the songs. On the weekend, it'll play full concerts of his.
Wow.
But they also, he DJs it all.
No way.
And he'll say, this artist was overlooked in the 80s, but this is what I really appreciate about the way
hilarious.
they wrote this song. And this is how this verse comes in, and listen to what they do with the rhythm in this section. And
Very cool.
it really kind of brings songs alive, and it makes it feel cool to listen to songs that maybe are not so cool, because he does have a wide-ranging taste. So he exposes you to some new music that you wouldn't listen to otherwise.
Yeah, it's almost
but
like
he also
Billy
gives
Joel.
you another appreciation for some classics.
Yeah. I would say Billy Joel is another one of those, like, he could be kind of everywhere.
Right.
Couldn't he sometimes?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When you came in, I was listening to the White Album, original pressing. You can't go wrong with the Beatles, I don't think.
You cannot go wrong with the Beatles. There may be 3 songs that you might want to skip, but every single song beyond that in the catalog is a winner. Is that what you're listening to mostly these days? The Beatles, or what else?
That's a good question. I love Tame Impala has been somebody that I found a couple of years ago. I actually create Spotify playlists that I play during classes. And so it's a lot of, Phoenix, Tame Impala, Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Some of the kind of like
Phoenix
alternative.
came to Ogden this summer. Did you
I
catch it?
heard that. I didn't go, but it would have been fun. But yeah, so I'm into kind of that like British rock.
Yeah.
I mean, what the Beatles kind of started. That's
Sure.
my happy place. That's where I like to stay.
Sure.
But yeah, awesome. Well, Dr. Godfrey, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come hang out with us today on the Think Like a Teacher podcast. What is the best way for people to contact you with their innovative ideas or to reach out to know what we're doing here at Jordan School District?
Superintendent at jordandistrict.org.
Okay.
And then I have the SOS site, sos.jordandistrict.org.
Okay.
The SOS is because I want to help and because I'm the superintendent of schools.
There we go.
You can send me an email there on that website. You go to sos.jordandistrict.org.
Okay.
And you can email me from there, or we can have an anonymous conversation there.
Oh,
so
awesome.
You can send a message, and it goes through Qualtrics. I don't know who sent it, and I can write you back.
Gotcha.
Without knowing who you are. So if
Awesome.
you need to do it anonymously, there's also a route to do that.
Very good. And you have your own podcast as well. The
I do.
Jordan Supercast.
Supercast.jordandistrict.org.
Yeah.
Or you can listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts.
All of the podcast places.
That's right.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And that is it for us on this episode of Think Like a Teacher.